Thank you, Chairman. This is a really important discussion, and I'm glad we're having it. Ms. Singh, as a reporter's job is to find the objective truth about what's happening and report it to the public. You have an enormous audience at the Times of India, and you have an enormous responsibility to get it right. I'm aware of how the narrative shaped by reporting can distort the truth. I'm also very aware of how it could be limited to sharing only the official side of the story. The press at its worst when it is a mouthpiece for a government. In your version of the story, the only problems in Kashmir are caused by what you call militants. The only people protesting to break away from India and are all nefariously backed by Pakistan. You also make the incredible dubious claim that the Indian government's crackdown in Kashmir is good for human rights. If it was good for human rights, Ms. Singh, it wouldn't be happening in secret. You make what I might call a feminist case for the occupation of Kashmir and the communication shutdowns, saying it would be better for women. Dr. Chatterjee, as the co-chair of the Initiative of Conflict, Gender, and People's Rights at the University of California, Berkeley, I would say you might be an expert on this particular issue. Do you agree with Ms. Singh's assertion that what's happening in Kashmir since August has been good for women's rights?
No, absolutely not. As you said yourself, if it were good for anybody, we would announce it. It would be announced to the world. It would be free. We would be able to go there, right? We would be able to enjoy it. And most importantly, the people that it's being done to would be appreciative. We have not had Kashmiris in Kashmir be appreciative. They have said they felt like they were being caged. They have said that their rights were being revoked. They're terrified because when we talk about human rights, in this instance with the BJP government, we also need to understand their ideology. Yeah. Because there is an ideological platform and assertion through which and because of which human rights are being violated. And if we simply focus on the human rights and try to ameliorate what is actually not working, it will not work. Because their mandate, for the first time in India openly, is to render India into a Hindu state.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Ben Cosme, you are the advocate manager for covering Asia for Amnesty International. I'm sure you do condemn terrorism as I do. Do you agree with me that you can do both at the same time, that you can think about the problem of Pakistan supporting terrorism and the human rights violations in Pakistan in a way negates our ability to hold India responsible for the behavior in Kashmir?
Absolutely.
And how so?
Every nation has the right to care about its territorial integrity and security issues in their own country. But I think it's dubious the claim that you need to shut down all forms of communication in order to have security in the Kashmir region. It's dubious the idea that you have to lock up political leaders, activists, children. You don't need to harass journalists in order to be able to have security in a region. And instead, you can find a balance between the two.
Yeah, and Dr. Kaul, you have the distinction of being both a scholar of democracy and feminism, as well as being the first Kashmiri woman ever to have a novel published in English. Would you weigh in on this particular issue of feminism and women's rights?
Yes, I want to speak as a politics and IR person with that hat on. So I just want to say that you're absolutely right. This, when we express concern about enforced disappearances in other parts of the world, that is precisely why we should care. Parveena Ahangar, who's the chairperson of the Association of Parents of Disappeared People, whose son was a victim of that, and she's been leading that struggle for 20 plus years. On International Day of Disappeared this year, they were not even allowed to gather and mourn, something that they've done on the 10th of every month and at the end of August. So this is an elderly woman, who has led this campaign, who's been nominated for the Nobel Prize. people, activists, peaceful people even, are not allowed that space. So everyone is being pushed towards this, this kind of, and as Angana pointed out, I do want to say that the Hindutva ideology, the political use of Hinduism, religion is neither a necessary nor a sufficient condition for violence. No religion is. So this is not about Hinduism, it's about the political use of Hinduism that is being made to convert India into a Hindu nation, where after the revocation of Article 370, BJP leaders have said, we want to go to Kashmir and marry fair women now. And that's literally, like, that's the level at which this whole thing is, that it's this exotic other. And the reason that all of this continues, the question of territorial integrity, it's really not simple. It's, yeah, the British did what they did, but we're in the world now. And as the statement says outside your archives, the past is a prologue. The future is the story that we have to write right now. It's not a simple question of territorial integrity, because Article 370 had, according to which Kashmir had its own constitution, its own flag, and its control over defense, except for defense, telecommunication, and external affairs, Kashmir was autonomous. That autonomy has been literally taken away, overnight. And that was the article that was keeping that political dispute in some sort of a frozen zone. Now that's gone. And what we are fearing is the worst to come.
All right, I am a minute over past my time.